Good morning. Today is Friday, September 2nd, 2022. This is the Urban Hope Refuge Morning Devotions. We're continuing our reading today from the 2022 Daily Bible Reading Guide published by the American Bible Society. For the month of September, we're reading under the theme, God's Renewing Word of Wisdom. Today, we're reading John chapter 5, verses 19 through 47 in the New International Version. Verse 19. Jesus gave them this answer. Very truly, I tell you, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son also does. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all he does. Yes, and he will show him even greater works than these, so that you will be amazed. For just as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, even so the Son gives life to whom he is pleased to give it. Moreover, the Father judges no one, but has entrusted all judgment to the Son, that all may honor the Son just as they honor the Father. Whoever does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. Very truly, I tell you, whoever hears my words and believes him who sent me has eternal life and will not be judged, but has crossed over from death to life. Very truly, I tell you, a time is coming, and now come, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear will live. For as the Father has life in himself, so he has granted the Son also to have life in himself. And he has given him authority to judge, because he is the Son of Man. Do not be amazed at this, for a time is coming when all who are in their graves will hear his voice and come out. Those who have done what is good will rise to live, and those who have done what is evil will rise to be condemned. By myself, I can do nothing. I judge only as I hear, and my judgment is just, for I seek not to please myself, but him who sent me. Self-theme, testimonies about Jesus. Verse 31. If I testify about myself, my testimony is not true. There is another who testifies in my favor, and I know that his testimony about me is true. you have sent to John, and he have testified to the truth. Not that I accept human testimony, but I mention it that you may be saved. John was a lamp that burned and gave light, and you chose for a time to enjoy his light. I have testimony weightier than that of John. For the works that the Father has given me to finish, the very works I am doing, testify that the Father has sent me. And the Father who sent me has himself testified concerning me. You have never heard his voice, nor seen his form, nor does his word dwell in you, for you do not believe the one he sent. You study the scriptures diligently because you think that in them you have eternal life. These are the very scriptures that testify about me, yet you refuse to come to me to have life. I do not accept glory from human beings, but I know you. I know that you do not have the love of God in your hearts. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not accept me. But if someone else comes in his own name, you will accept him. How can you believe, since you accept glory from one another, but do not seek the glory that comes from the only God? But do not think I will accuse you before the Father. Your accuser is Moses, on whom your hopes are set. If you believed Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me. But since you do not believe what he wrote, how are you going to believe what I say? This concludes our reading for today of John chapter 5, verses 19 through 47. Yesterday, I shared with you the fact that in the Gospel of John, he speaks of signs, miracles that will happen. So in this, looking at the entire 5th chapter of the Gospel of John, which we read yesterday and today, there are different signs that John brings to light in his gospel. The first two were the one that we just read yesterday was different from the first two very quickly. The first sign took place at the wedding when Jesus's mother came to him and made a request of him because they had a need at the wedding. That was the first sign. And Jesus did the first miracle. The second sign was the healing of a dead boy. Jesus was sought out by the boy's father, and Jesus healed him. Well, the sign that we read about yesterday, the miracle, when Jesus went seeking a man who had been crippled for 38 years. And Jesus intentionally healed the man on the Sabbath day. This miracle was a challenge to traditional religion, which was not effective. Jesus came as the divine light and the life giver. At the pool of Bethesda, which is referred to as the house of mercy, for this crippled man, it had become a house of hopelessness. And this is indicated by the religious system which in Jerusalem, which it had become. When Jesus arrived, the pool became the place of grace. Jesus simply spoke to the man and said to him, "Get up and walk." Jesus didn't send him to the pool where the angel was troubling the water and only one person could be healed at a time. Jesus did not send him there. So there was a problem because Jesus healed the man. The man, when Jesus healed him, the man was able to move on his own. He was before dependent upon others, waiting for somebody to pick him up and put him in the water. And he had no man to help him into that water. He had, listen, he had to be willing to be healed. So when Jesus came to the man, he simply spoke to him. And the man heard the word of Jesus and he responded. Now that is a devotional within itself because he speaks to us every single day and moment of our lives. He speaks to us through his word. Only if we are willing, as that man did, who for 38 years had been lame and crippled and could not walk. Jesus simply spoke the word, and the man responded, and he was healed. Well, the man picked up his mat, and he went his way. The Pharisees heard about it, and you would think that they would just be happy that this poor man for 38 years could not walk. Everybody would be happy for him, but not the Pharisees. They said in my language, "How dare you pick up a mat on the Sabbath?" Jesus broke the law. They said that the Pharisees said that it was unlawful to carry anything or any kind of labor on the Sabbath, even the straw mat that the man would pick up, put it on his back, and walk, something he had not done all of his life. But the Pharisees were angry that the man had broken the law by carrying his mat on the Sabbath. The man picked up his mat and walked simply because Jesus told him to do so. It was a high form of praise for that man, and he did the very thing Jesus told him to do. Well, there was persecution for Jesus because instead of the folks being excited for the man, they criticized and persecuted him because he was breaking the law. Never mind the law, the man had been healed by Jesus after being an invalid for 38 years. Well, at this point, the Pharisees began to hate Jesus and to persecute him. They hated him and they persecuted him because he said, "My Father." They said, "How dare you say that God is your Father?" They refused to accept Jesus as the Son of God. But Jesus spoke in terms and acted in terms of the fact that Jesus was the Son of God and that he was his Father. And listen, there are so many people today who believe in Godism, but they reject the Son of God, Jesus. And he said in his word that I and my Father are one. The man never had to return to the pool as a sick man again. What a miracle. What a sign God has given through his people. Now, saints, this is God's renewing word of wisdom. And I pray that you have been blessed by these words today, that God is still giving us signs. God is still doing miracles. Why don't we open our eyes and do just what he tells us to do, as that man did? Listen, pray your way through the day. Walk with the King and be a blessing.